Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Tied to the Land podcast. In this episode, we're sitting down with an awesome husband and wife team, Cayden and Madeline Boyd. Cayden is an actor professionally, but an outdoorsman at heart. Madeline, his amazing wife, she grew up in the outdoors, and we're going to talk about all kinds of things from life in LA to life on the ranch to life out in the ocean on the swell, I think is how he described it. But we're going to let him get into that. So tune in. We're going to talk about faith also. It's going to be a lot of really good stuff. You won't want to miss it. Welcome to the Tied to the Land podcast, presented by Acres, a platform for up-to-date data, mapping, market intel, and portfolio management. This show explores the connection people have with the land, the work it takes to care for it, and the legacies that are built on it. We dive deep into the stories and experiences that make that connection so meaningful. Whether you hunt, farm, ranch, or simply enjoy the outdoors, this podcast is for you. What's up, guys? My name is Andrew Schultz. This is the Tied to the Land podcast. We're pumped to have you guys back with us today. We've got a couple awesome guests with us that I'm really excited to talk about. I think this is going to be different from any episode we've done so far. We've got Cayden and Madeline Boyd.
Oh.
Guys, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. Thank you for having us.
It's a heavy rainy day. So thanks for trudging through the waters to get here.
Of course.
Appreciate it. So Happy New Year to you guys.
Yeah,
How were the holidays? They treat you well?
It's good. It was our first holidays as a married couple. We got married October 23rd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Honeymoon, and then it was like Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's,
Yeah.
hit the ground running for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
it was good.
how was the marriage, or how was the wedding? Like, did it fly by? Because I know for me, everybody said, yeah, it'll come and go, and you
Yeah.
blink and it'll be done.
Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
that like for you guys?
Oh, 100%. I mean, looking back, I'm glad that we have the photos that we did because it did fly by. There was it was just the build up and all the planning. Obviously, you did the vast majority of that.
So it
But
goes,
it was awesome. It was
Yeah.
like the best day of our lives. And then
It
the
was.
honeymoon was the best.
Yeah,
Where
it
did you guys go?
Mexico. It was like west coast of Mexico.
Okay.
So yeah, we ended up surfing 3 days when we were there. So it was like my honeymoon, also the best surf trip I've ever been on. She had a great time surfing, never been surfing before.
Yeah, I had never been surfing.
Really?
And Cayden was like, we're just going to try it. You're going to get lessons. It's going to be great, And I was like, may love it, may hate it. We'll see how this goes. And he's like, you may not stand up on your first time. It's okay. Like halfway through the
Grabbing
lesson,
rail,
I'm like,
grabbing rail, going left.
Yeah.
Like fully setting her line, going.
It was
I
so
was
fun.
I was a little bit annoyed like how good she was immediately. But
No kidding.
yeah.
Yeah. It was good.
But it was perfect conditions, like perfect water temperature, very comfortable. Going left, she's goofy footed, so
Yeah.
it was like a great instructor. I just surfed alongside them while he was instructing, so it was the perfect scenario
That's
to learn,
awesome.
and
Such a
so
blast.
she crushed it. Yeah.
I feel like women always catch on faster than we do.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know what it
she's
is.
very athletic. Like,
Yeah.
what is your family's thing? Like, Mills
Oh,
started.
Mills. My maiden name is Mills, and
Okay.
so they would say, as a Mills, you start at intermediate. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Those
No
are the rules.
beginner.
Yeah. No training wheels around here.
Are you guys
Yeah.
competitive between the two of you?
I mean, I'm just pretty competitive in general.
I try to avoid being against him.
Yeah.
It's just better for our relationship. We're a really good team. I'll say that. We're really good on a team.
That's good. My wife and I are super competitive, and she's like you. She's very athletic, and we play ping pong and do any way we can to kind of get into a little bit of competition.
Yeah.
Like, we enjoy that.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I want to start by you guys just giving a brief Cliff Notes synopsis of who you are, where you come from. We'll obviously dive into the details, so
Yeah.
don't feel like you got to talk for 20 minutes about this, but who are you guys? Why are you here today?
Yeah. You want to start?
You can.
Okay. My name is Cayden Boyd. I was born in Texas. I grew up in Los Angeles, California. Me and my immediate family, moved to Los Angeles when I was about 6 years old. Lived in Atlanta, Georgia for like about a year and a half before that, though. But yeah, basically grew up in Los Angeles, grew up in the entertainment industry. So yeah, that was just something that happened fairly naturally, fairly organically. Yeah, it was just one of those situations where someone came up to my mom and was like, hey, kids are really cute. Thought about putting them in like kid modeling, and before we knew it, we were basically doing like me and my sister, we could pass as twins.
Uh-huh.
And so it was like us doing JCPenney catalogs back in the day. And then that turned into commercials, and then that turned into like TV and film. And it just kind of gradually happened. And we went to LA. And so it was just funny growing up in LA, but being from Texas, all of my extended families in Texas, every winter break was us going to the hunting ranch in Texas or going down to my grandparents, like in way South Texas where they live.
Yeah.
Near the Arroyo, Colorado. So fishing for speckled sea trout, fishing for redfish, and, hunting turkeys, just hunting dove, just, I mean, that's like a lot of what I grew up on. So, yeah, just did that, just fully grew up in LA, played football there, and, knew I wanted to like keep acting. And so was kind of choosing between a few different schools, went to Pepperdine University, met like one of my best friends there who's from very rural Hawaii, where they like Kona. Yeah. And so him and I connected immediately. And one good thing about going to Pepperdine, or I guess it wasn't like the standard, university experience, because there was no football team. So it wasn't a given of like what you were going to be doing on a Saturday. So on Saturdays, we were like, all right, man, like, what are the waves doing? And if the waves aren't doing anything, like, let's go dive at this spot. Let's go spearfish over here, or let's go hike over here. And so usually we were always like playing outside instead of like doing, the typical like sports things or a school that's centered around sports. And so him and I just were trying to find every opportunity to hunt while we were in Southern California. So ended up taking my first archery deer in Los Angeles County.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
not many people can say that. I bet.
No. So it was like, they're technically California mule deer.
Yeah.
And so it was just any opportunity where we could, like, how do we procure some wild game? We were trying to figure out how to do that.
So cool.
So yeah, I've just like, it was just funny being, I guess for lack of a better word, being an outdoorsman in Los Angeles and like trying to figure out, okay, like how do we do this in a city that is not like trying to support that at all.
For sure.
But yeah, so just have always, since I was a little kid, like just loved being outside, loved hunting, loved, eating and cooking wild game and doing that, and moved to Oklahoma and met the love of my life. That worked out pretty good.
Very
So
cool. We have
got
that in
married.
common. I also moved to Oklahoma and met the love of my life.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah.
it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
Good
So-
stuff in the water for the Oklahoma girls.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess so. So speaking of the love of your life, Madeline, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Madeline Mills originally, Madeline Boyd, as of October 23rd. So I grew up in Cleveland, Oklahoma, which is small town west of here. My family has a ranch kind of between Skytook and Hominy. And so really grew up out there just, not doing a whole lot of nothing, but a lot of fun. I'm one of 4 girls, and my dad was one of 3 boys. And he is like as redneck, good old guy.
He gives my family a run for their money.
Oh,
He is about as redneck as they come in terms of just a good old boy.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus walked the earth, and then the next best man is my dad. Well, and you, right? But just a good guy, and he really wanted boys, and he got us girls, and so we're very well rounded to put it that way. But yeah, I grew up in Cleveland, and then went to UCO for undergrad, and then Parker University for chiropractic school.
Okay.
So I'm a chiropractor. My dad's also a chiropractor, so we run a clinic together at Mills Chiropractic here in Tulsa. I specialize in prenatal, postpartum pediatrics. So moms and babies is kind of my jam.
Yeah.
Love hanging out with them. And dad kind of gets to see the grandparents and the parents. Then I'm kind of the moms and the babies. And so we have, 4 generations deep in there sometimes, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, met Cayden and
On a camping trip.
on a camping trip.
Yep.
Yep. And he was cooking over the fire, and all my
You
friends.
were just like, oh.
No.
100%. That's exactly what it was.
That's how you remember it, right?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Y'all can keep that story for sure. All my friends, you know how girls are. They're like, hey, these are the cute single men in our friend group. These are the guys. This is what's going on. And they tell me like Cayden's this, actor from LA, like surfer guy, whatever. And I'm like, okay, who else? Give me.
That's not a hillbilly from Cleveland. I'm not interested.
For sure.
Right?
And then sure enough, I met him, and I was like, oh, you're like, yeah, we're pretty compatible, turns out. So yeah, just best friends at first, and then here we are. So
Tried really hard not to like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Or just be like, no, let's just be friends. And then it was just one of those things where it was like, anytime there was a group hangout, I was like, okay, but I would see if Madeline was going. And then if Madeline was going, I was definitely going,
Yeah.
you know? And
Yeah.
so just loved being around her and just was like, okay, yeah, we really like each other.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
for
So
sure.
how's marriage been for you guys?
Great. We've got a whole 2 months of experience
Yeah,
under our belt.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great. It was such a crazy shift going from we got engaged middle of May 18th. We
Yeah.
got married October 23rd and immediately went on our honeymoon, came back November 1st, moved into our place together. And yeah, so it was just like, and then holiday. So it was just like, we're just full steam ahead.
Busy,
You
busy,
know?
busy.
Yeah.
It's fun though.
Yeah,
It's
it's been
so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell everybody it's awesome. And
Yeah.
maybe it's
Mhm.
not for some people, but it's meant to be awesome. And
It is.
Right.
You're right.
so
man.
that's
For sure.
great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys have said so much that I want to unpack here, and so we'll try to cram it into an hour
Yeah.
or as
Yeah.
close to as we can. But Madeline, start by telling us like what it was like growing up with all sisters and a dad. You talked about how he wanted all boys and then got all girls,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're out on the farm or the ranch, and
Uh-huh.
grew up in that lifestyle. Like, what do you have you guys doing as a family? What was your childhood like? Like,
Yeah.
what do you remember that maybe shaped your life and the trajectory of leading you to where you are now?
For
Good
sure. For
question.
sure.
You've got stories for
Oh boy.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a funny story my dad likes to tell. And one of my sisters was in the toy room with Barbies. You know, we were little girls, we had Barbies too. And she had a butter knife and she had the Barbie by the leg and my mom's like, Kenzie, what are you doing? And she said, I skin it. And so my
Oh.
mom runs to my dad, is like, your daughter, and so just funny stuff like that. We were very much like 1 foot in girl world. We were always encouraged, like, wear dresses, be girls, but also just like we wanted to be with dad doing what he was doing, you
Yeah.
know. Everything he did was so much fun.
This
and
is a
so-
picture of them when they
Yeah.
were like the playhouse in the background.
That's
You know,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
Just
We'll,
true
we'll have to
90s.
show that. That's amazing. That's exactly what I want my daughter's first
Dude,
photo.
right? I saw
to
that.
look
I'm like, that, we need to frame that in our own
Yeah.
house. Like that is
Yeah.
that's so iconic.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's actually pretty
Yeah.
interesting. I'll just pause real quick for this. Cayden, because of his background and just some of the following that he has, people don't always love when he posts about fishing and hunting.
Sure.
It's
Yeah, they
not.
freak out.
It's
Really?
something.
Freak out.
Yeah, I want
For
to talk
sure.
about that. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, but so I can tell you a story about that later. But I had posted that picture on my Instagram because some people love to tell me that like I'm, in a relationship with a sociopath that is a murderer, and so I posted that picture and I was like, little do
being a
y'all
hunter.
know,
Yeah.
I'm the sociopath
Yeah.
murderer.
yeah, right. Well, like me and my sisters would be running by playing, and we might get hit in the back of the head with a deer heart. I
Yeah,
mean, just
right.
like it was just which sounds crazy, but my dad loves animals, he honors animals, but it's just the circle of life, and we just
Yeah.
grew up knowing that, like
Yeah.
death is part of it, and but yeah, and we have cattle on the ranch, so grew up
Cool.
pretty much primarily eating the beef from that, and but just fishing, hunting, riding 4-wheelers, like there's some caves out on our ranch, so digging through stuff there, like arrowheads and all of that stuff, and it was just so fun, so exciting, and now my sisters have kiddos, and it's just so cool to be like, man, we were this age on this land right here, like this is where our feet were, this is where we were barefoot, stepping on scorpions and
Yes.
throwing rocks in the creek and all that stuff, so it's really special out there.
Yeah, that's amazing. So did your dad have that land? Like, did his dad have that land, or is
Yeah.
it passed down from generation to generation thus far?
Yes, it's my grandparents. So my dad's mom and dad bought it originally the year that I was born, actually. So they
Okay.
bought it in 97. And it was originally called Wild Horse, Oklahoma. And it was this oil boom town. And so we have this scrapbook that has like the 1-room schoolhouse, and there's still the 1-room schoolhouse steps out there and a lot of basements and stuff from when that
They
place
can
was
see the
being
foundations
established.
of like all those
Wow.
old
Yeah,
things.
so lots of
Amazing,
cool
dude.
culture. And an older gentleman and wife, Milton and Phoebe, they were like another set of grandparents for me. My grandparents were like, hey, we want to buy up this land and turn it into a ranch. And they were like, you can have it if we can stay here and die here.
Oh,
And so
wow.
they stayed and lived on the ranch, and my grandparents ran it. And so, yeah, it's been there my whole life.
That's so
And so
cool.
now my dad lives out there too. One of my sisters is out there, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long.
Family compounds are becoming a big thing. You guys
God,
gonna make an appearance out there?
I mean, we're out there all the time
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
I mean, hunting, fish. I mean, just anytime where it's like we just want to go play outside, we're
Yeah.
pretty much gonna go out there or like go
We're
hunt.
out there a lot.
Yeah, we're out there
Mhm.
a lot. But yeah, so it's, and honestly, all of her sisters and their husbands are out there as well. So I mean, it's just fun. It's fun to get out there, play with the nieces and nephews, and it's just a great time. So
Yeah.
we're out there all the time. I mean, we'll see as
Yeah.
far as like little family compound
Yeah,
situation.
right.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's all.
So how much did her being outdoorsy impact like your desire to pursue her?
It was, I mean, I have thought about that for a long time because I'm just trying to imagine. I mean, not that every, girl needs to be like,
Sure.
ready to hop in the deer stand at any, or like get in the duck blind and throw on, waders and throw out a spread of decoys or
Mhm.
anything like that. Like, that's like, I don't think that's necessarily like a
Prerequisite?
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that's just one of the things I'm most passionate about. And so
Mm-hmm.
just finding somebody who's just pretty much game for any of that and she's been trained in that way for sure. Like her dad, just because it was pretty much the way that he raised them, honestly, was
Yeah.
probably like, hey, just get in the truck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I'll never
just-
forget the first time we went hunting together, and I heard something, and I was like, doing the slow turn, and he was like, "You know to move slow?" And I was like,
Yeah.
I knew to move slow when I was 4 years
Yeah,
old.
right.
It's just so,
Yeah.
because most of the time I was expecting it to be, I was so gonna be like, hey, when you turn, like turn slow, look with your eyes first and then kind of don't just,
Right.
but she knew and I was like,
Yeah,
she's
that was
been
the first time
trained.
he
Yeah.
called me well-trained, yeah.
Yeah, she has been trained.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it was such a cool thing. And just, yeah, it just not being like fussy about being outside
Mhm.
and wanting to be outside and having such a deep appreciation for it was just like, that was such an attractive quality about her. Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And just being able to hang and enjoy it and have fun. And yeah, very attractive quality.
Yeah.
For sure.
Love that for you guys. That's so great.
Yeah.
So tell us about what it was like being an outdoorsman in LA then. I mean, obviously, I've never been to LA, never been to California.
Yeah.
I know California is a game-rich state as a whole, and agriculture is a huge,
Yes.
part of the state's
Yeah.
culture. And but what was it like living in LA, knowing that you're passionate about hunting and fishing and wild
Yeah.
game and all that stuff? I mean, you talked about the backlash that you guys have
Yeah.
faced a little bit, being in the public's eye.
Yeah.
Just
I actually remember my mom was recently telling you this story. I was a kid going into, it was like one of the final meetings for a movie, one of the final auditions for last step for a movie or a new show or something like that. I can't remember if I ended up getting it, maybe not. But it was, they were saying like, hey, they were just a lot of times casting people or producers or writers, whoever, are just trying to kind of get a sense of who you are as well, especially as a little kid. They want you to just talk.
mhm.
And so, yeah, I was a little kid and they were like, so Cayden, what did you do on Christmas break? And I was like, oh man, we went hunting and I killed my first doe and I shot her and right through the heart and she dropped dead right
with
there.
the extra accent and everything.
Yeah, I was like, she dropped dead right there, man. It was a great shot on her. Then we skinned her, we quartered her up, and all these Hollywood producers and like executives are like clutching their pearls.
Yeah.
And so apparently my agent called my mom and was like, yeah, how about he doesn't, break down the skinning process and the quartering process to all
And
these
how
like
old are you
Hollywood.
at this point?
I was probably 10,
Okay,
9 or 10.
okay.
Yeah, but just like stoked on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, stoked. Killed my first deer. And I
Yeah.
was going to tell him about it, obviously.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it was just stuff like that where it was ridiculous because I drove a truck. Like I still have the same truck that I have from when I was 17.
It's awesome.
But because I drove a truck, it's not like it's some lifted F-250. It's a Nissan Frontier. Like it's a mid-sized truck.
Right.
It's not like sick.
Yeah, you can blend in LA with the
Yeah.
Nissan Frontier.
Yeah,
you
but
know?
no, everyone was like, oh, that's the guy with the truck. Like he's so, like he's such a man. And I was just like, what? It's an Eastern frontier. But anyway, yeah. And so it was really cool whenever I met Colton, is like one of my best friends. He was at our wedding. The guy from Hawaii. It was so awesome meeting him because I mean he's like comes from like the rednecks of Hawaii. Like they're hunting pigs with knives and dogs and
Which most
stuff like
people
that.
don't think about that even being part of the culture in Hawaii.
No,
Right.
huge part. Like they're out there catching like 400-pound marlin on like a small center console boat and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like they are ate up with hunting and fishing. So it was cool, like meeting each other. We were like, did we just become best friends?
Yeah.
And so
Right.
that was awesome. And so, yeah, I mean, most of the time being in LA, it was like, okay, I'm looking for my opportunity to go back to Texas or go somewhere else to like go hunt or fish or whatever. But once you were kind of like, okay, how do I make this happen here? It was just a lot of fun. But yeah, I almost had the police called on me multiple times because we were carrying like a skinned out buck over our shoulders and we had to kind of like go through this neighborhood
Oh my god.
to get it to the truck because it was public land, but we were like, we can just go through this neighborhood real quick to get it to the truck, to take it to the processor. And yeah, this guy, like multiple neighbors called and were like, I guess like the security of the neighborhood was like, what are these men doing?
Yeah.
You know? And so
They
yeah,
just murdered a deer.
oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, they were like LAPD was about to show up. So
Yeah.
yeah, we almost got in trouble a couple times. We had to we were quartering the deer outside of the house and we were like, okay, I guess we need to bring it into the garage.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a blast trying to figure it out. There was just different outdoorsy opportunities there than necessarily there are here. Surfing, spearfishing, getting to do all that stuff. And, but yeah, I mean, like you said, it is a very, like, it's rich in game for
Yeah.
sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I love, this is a little bit my Roman Empire is thinking about like the fur trapper era.
Yeah.
And just to think about those guys that were coming through that area, like the San Fernando Valley, for example, where like Los Angeles, California is. And 150 years ago, it was just or 200 years ago, it was a like teeming just wilderness,
Mhm.
and bears running all through there and wolves and mountain lions. And I've seen mountain lions in Central California with me and Colton have been hunting in like Tehachapi area. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you definitely got to want it. You got to want it pretty bad to like be out there hunting and fishing in Southern California.
Yeah, I can imagine. Man, I'm curious. And, due to the nature of a lot of the people we hang out with here, they're hunters, ranchers,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Oklahoman outdoorsmen,
Yeah.
I would say. But like surfing, I want to get into that for a
Yeah.
second. And
There's so many parallels between surfing and
so
hunting.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
wondering. Like, is it the same rush for you or the same, fulfillment when you're surfing as opposed to hunting? Is it different? Like, you know, talk about that aspect of being tied to the land, like through the water
Mhm.
and through other outdoor recreation that's not just like hunting, fishing, ranching,
Yeah.
farming.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, being on the water, I mean, I think it's the hardest board sport by far, surfing, just because I mean, and you can attest to this now, because it's there's so many variables. I mean, obviously you have the water and that could change depending on tide or swell or anything like that, water temperature, like there's so many different things that can change. The certain takeoff point for a wave could vary. So you have to learn how to like not just surf, but you also have to learn how to, okay, how am I reading the ocean? Like what is happening here? Where's the takeoff point? Am I going to go left? Am I going to go right? What's the tide doing? And so doing that plus like actually learning to surf, it's way different than just skating where you have the fixed variable, like you have a cement track or like a parking lot or whatever, and you are skating on that, and that variable is not going to change. Surfing, it's
Mhm.
constantly changing. So I mean, I would say, I think I told you this, I was like 10% of surfing is actually getting up and riding the wave. That's 10% of surfing.
Yeah.
The other 90 is just paddling and where to put yourself in position to actually catch that
Choosing
wave.
the
Yeah.
wave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
choosing
Like
exactly
reading the
choosing
waves.
exactly 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it like I get excited when there's a big cold front coming for hunting. So like you're like scouting the weather for like I don't even
Swell.
know swell. Okay.
Absolutely.
Swell.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That
Probably
gets you fired up.
I would say even more so it like rather than like a big north wind coming through, like, whoo, this is gonna be good. It's way more than that because either for like birds or for deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a big swell coming to an area, I mean, you're going to have pro surfers from all over the world. Like in Southern California, example,
Wow.
there's going to be pro surfers from all over the world coming in. Yeah.
Huh.
So it is, I mean, there's usually some storm that's popping off somewhere. That's obviously where your swell comes from, is a big system that's, making the ripples on the waves and it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, so you're looking at, swell, wind direction, swell direction, and how is that gonna, affect land that's facing north, south, east, or I guess not east, but west in Southern California. So what was your question? Sorry, I got sidetracked.
I don't even know. I'm enamored by your passion for it, so I'm just sitting here soaking it in.
Yeah. But yes. So it is definitely like just as much like stoke behind, like, okay, what's the swell coming up gonna be doing, like you would for game.
So cool. So if you had to pick between surfing and hunting, you could only do one for the rest of your life.
I mean, if you're like making me pick, I'm gonna pick hunting for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's something that's sustainable. I think ultimately long term, like you can hunt pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Or you can, but
you can't surf the waters of Keystone very easily.
No, not unless you got a big
Wake surf boat. Yeah. Which we do that too.
Which is fun.
Right.
But no, I mean, there is something that's like so. Yeah, I feel like this is maybe an overused word, but like so primal about that, or so. We were talking about this on the way here. I think it's biblical. Like I really do think it's biblical. I think it's Proverbs 12 that says, "A lazy man does not roast what he took in hunting."
Yeah.
And so, for me, like I mean, it is already like the notion of just the option to not hunt is a very new concept in the terms of just people in general. Like that's a very new notion. And it's so crazy how fast it changed. So that, like you were saying, when you post a picture of like, oh man, like killed my first Oklahoma deer, and with my bow, people in locally or in other countries are freaking out.
Yeah. How do you guys deal with that? Madeline, like and especially, it sounds like you've dealt with some of it yourself, but like, do you get defensive for him? Do you guys address it? Do you try to like speak knowledge into those people, or you just let it roll off and roll on?
Go ahead.
It was so bizarre to me because I grew up here and then I lived in Dallas for school, which people were kind of like, oh, you're kind of country girl. Like, oh, I got a little bit of that in Denver. I got a lot of that. So I got a little dose, but on such a large scale, I had not experienced that before. And the first, I was like, what is happening? Like, but then I started looking at it, and I'm like, they were saying things like, why don't you guys just go get your food from a grocery store like normal people? And
genuine, like those are some of the
first,
comments.
For sure, I'm like super mad on his behalf. And I'm like, these people are idiots, But then it's the deeper thing of like, okay, and especially like I'm a chiropractor, but so like obviously I love adjusting, but like lifestyle is really important to us. And like hunting is really important to us. And, taking the food from the field to the table is a huge passion. And Cayden's an awesome cook. He's like, it's honestly one of my favorite things about him. He is so excellent with game. And so just realizing like, man, we need, because these people are not necessarily idiots. Maybe they're just really ignorant, right? Like they haven't been told this.
Never been exposed to.
That food you're getting from the grocery store came from something. And let's talk about sustainable farming and like how deer are treated on our land versus like the chickens that you're getting from Chick-fil-A.
Right.
And so it is frustrating on a personal sense, right? Where we're like, come on, dude, like get off our post or quit. One of my favorites was like, girl, you need to quit bleaching your hair because it's seeping into your brain because you're married to a murderer. And I was like, whoa, that's a big one. Okay. Oh, yeah, like hundreds of comments and DMs and things like that. But really, it's the bigger picture of like, this is a huge wake-up call that humanity needs to understand again, that we're sick because we're not eating real food. And
Yeah.
eating real food looks like growing it and hunting it and fishing it and, making sure it's not being full of pesticides and things like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's really where my heart is at in it and all of it is like, yeah, it's frustrating that they're saying that, but why do they not understand how the real world works?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think they want to understand.
Yeah.
Really. Like people are
Yeah.
just so stuck in their own lane. You could speak, it doesn't matter what facts you speak to them, they're just still gonna have their opinions sometimes. And
Right.
Yeah.
I found that those types of people, like logic, you could give them all the logic in the world and
Sure.
they're still just gonna feel that way, which is really unfortunate. Cause I love that open dialogue about why I hunt and
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, me
how
too.
how
Me
pure
too.
it is and just where our food comes from and like I mean
Yeah.
same type of stuff.
Right.
I think everybody who hunts or fishes or does anything like that has dealt with it before.
Oh, for sure.
You guys deal with it on a larger scale because of your career and
Yeah.
um but I would encourage you guys to push back against the grain a little
Yeah,
bit,
for
you
sure.
know? Keep doing
sure.
so.
Yeah,
For sure.
and, you know, some of it I could probably grow in this. Part of me is like, okay, maybe I do need to, post something where it's or, put something out there where it would be like explaining the heart or explaining the intention or the desire behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But part of me is just kind of like, I'm not going to explain myself on
Yeah.
this, and I think both can be, there's a time and place for both of those.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
and take it a step back, like remove the killing, remove the hunting.
right.
Like, how about just the fulfillment and the peace that comes from being outdoors? Like some of these people
100%.
who are saying those things have never taken a hike. They've
Yeah.
never
No.
spent time out in God's country. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Or being real quiet, like sitting there hearing nothing but the wind
Crickets.
going through the trees,
Yeah.
and it's like there's that same, for me, there's that same peace, there's that same stillness, that same where it's like this is all not a mistake. Like you can feel like this is like God's handiwork at play right now. I
Mhm.
get that same thing from like sitting in an open deer blind, as you're hearing like squirrels barking in the
Yeah.
distance and you're sitting there like trying to see a little bump on the horizon as you're waiting for a wave and like you're seeing a dolphin
That's
like
so
right
cool.
by you. Yeah, it's just like to me, I'm like those are two of some of like my absolute favorite things to do. And it's like being outside, being immersed in it.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. On the surfing, when you said like how does that compare to hunting and being tied to the land? I just learned, obviously. So
Yeah.
but I love the serenity prayer in any situation where it's like, accept the things you cannot change, change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I think anything we do with the land is that game of like, okay, what's my responsibility here? And how do I have to like lean into what the wave is doing or like pick, the wind pattern to know where I'm going to stand or
Exactly.
what stand I'm going to sit because, the deer are going to smell me or whatever. And so it's like, what can I control? And then what's left up to like the things I get to play with and like
Yeah.
get to be a part of something bigger,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's a beautiful way to look at that. Um, how do you feel like your faith fits into all of it? I mean, obviously, you guys have referenced your faith several times before we started the podcast. We were talking about church and stuff, but like specifically connecting you to the faith aspect to the outdoors aspect. How do you feel like other than it's all over the Bible, Jesus
Mhm.
retreating to the wilderness
Yep.
and different all kinds of different nature references and hunting references. But for you guys personally, like in your lives, how do the two fit in with each other?
Mm. You want to go?
Yeah, I think spirituality in general, and I say that from a very biblical Christian standpoint, not really new age perspective, but
Mhm.
things like sitting around a fire, science is catching up and realizing like, oh, this is really good for your nervous system. And this is like, instead of blue light, like that red light from the fire is doing all of this stuff to you, like neurologically, cellularly. And so I've known that since I was a little girl without science because I just felt God. I felt
Yeah.
like, oh, my piece is here, like under the stars in the silence, like experiencing his handiwork. And so now it's really interesting to see like you have a physical response in your body to these like spiritually enlightening things, right?
Mhm.
And so it's a felt experience where God is really just religion if you're just looking at showed up to church and looking at words on a page, but he can be felt and experienced when you're hanging out on the land.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. Patience was one of the first things I thought of, whether it's surfing, whether it's hunting, it's you trying to like force, something to happen in the woods or even like, you know, usually the best surfer out there in a lineup is the one that looks the most chill and looks like he's not even trying. It's the guy who's like that looks like the coolest surfer. Is one that's not even trying, but is like just very fluent with whatever is going on, fluent at reading the waves. But yeah, the first thing I thought of was just patience. I think there's a lot of things that about that make you uncomfortable, whether it's being outside and being hot and, trying to, you know, I mean, do whatever, chopping wood, being hot, or being cold, being uncomfortable, just being outside and being uncomfortable, being in the water, being cold, being uncomfortable. Where it's like, okay, how do I, and also just like being still and know that I am God. I think there's so many opportunities for being outside that allow us to be way more still than we get to be in like our normal, or what I wish was our normal day-to-day lives, but being in the office or just
Yeah.
doing something else. So I think there's just there's a lot of
Refinement there.
yeah, refinement or fruit that
Yeah.
like comes from being outside and putting yourself in multiple scenarios, and being willing to like get your hands dirty and be uncomfortable, and be patient, and it's not instant gratification.
Yeah.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so uh, even I remember the first time we sat together, did a sit like hunt for deer at her family's land, and I was very new. I was just the boyfriend at that time.
Lucky to be there.
100%.
Her dad lets you come?
Oh yeah, dude, they were all about it, and I
Okay.
was like so nervous. I was so nervous because you're like, what if I put a bad shot on? So
Yeah.
I mean, I was nervous.
I'm proving my manhood right
Yeah,
here.
100%. And then you're like, here's this California boy.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can
For
do.
sure. My family was kind of like,
This,
"Who?"
Yeah.
this city slicker.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was nervous, but where was I going with this? Oh, the first time we sat, yeah. We didn't see any deer. And so I came back and they were like, you guys see anything? I was like, no, didn't see anything. And they were like, oh man, I'm so sorry. And they were like very apologetic, but I was just like, that's one of my favorite parts of it. That sounds
Yeah.
ridiculous, but the sit is one of my favorite parts. Like either being there watching the world just kind of wake up around you and you getting to be quiet and just your ears just kind of get more tuned to like any little sound. And just the more that you sit in it and your eyes start to adapt and you're able to spot little bitty things, like that's half of it for me, is just like the actual sit and getting to be quiet and getting to watch the world wake up or just be immersed in it. Like
For sure.
That's half of it.
Yeah, something I talk about often is just even the differences between the sounds of spring as opposed to fall.
That's
Like
good.
Yeah.
hearing the woods wake up in the spring
Yep.
is a totally different sound, a totally
Yes.
different piece than like what you hear in the fall. You
Yeah.
know, the birds are different.
Yep.
In the spring, you've got turkeys gobbling,
Right.
you got owls hooting.
Yes.
You know, the fall's a little different.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, until you've experienced that, there's just no way to describe it.
100%.
It
Dude,
has
it
to be
was-
felt, like you
yeah.
guys were saying earlier.
This was I killed my first spring turkey this spring in
Cool.
Oklahoma. Yeah. So that was a whole new thing. I was ate up with it for a while. I was probably driving her crazy because it was all I was talking about.
It's great.
Well, we could go on and on about that
Yeah.
because turkeys have my heart.
Oh, really?
If
Okay.
I had to hunt one thing for the rest of my
No
life, it'd be
way.
the wild turkey.
Okay, well,
Okay.
he made this was what drove me crazy. He made this turkey pozole, and it was
It was
phenomenal.
like it's like a Mexican stew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it was with his turkey that he hunted.
Yeah.
It took you what, like 3 days, 4 days?
Well, I didn't recognize the time commitment because it's like you got to slow cook. It was like using the drums and just the breast and like slow cooking that like crock pot basically.
Yeah.
And then you got to like open fire roast these vegetables. Then you got to blend these vegetables and then you got to combine it all again. So overall, it was probably like a 6-hour process, but I was giving myself like 2 hours at a time. I just didn't plan it out well, but it turned out amazing.
It was great, but I
It was
was
very
like,
good.
I was trying to make dinner one night because we couldn't eat this for dinner, and he's like messing with his turkey, and I'm like, can you just get out of the kitchen and
Yeah.
let me cook dinner?
Yeah.
But it was really good. Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
to get you the recipe sometime.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome. I'd
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, wild turkey's so good. And most people are like, oh, I've heard it's dry. I'm like, no, that wasn't cooked right or that wasn't
Right.
prepared right, you
Right.
know? And same thing with any wild game.
Oh, for sure.
One of my favorite things to do is like to sneak wild game into like public settings
like
and
it.
not tell anybody that it's
it.
wild game and
Yeah.
see if anyone notices,
I
you know?
like it.
They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They don't
remember
know.
being we were in Los Angeles. It was like one of my last years there. And I just normally, for a while there, we were doing like every September down at my grandparents, like way South Texas for like white-winged dove. And so I come back with, cooler, like we'll hunt for 3 days. So I'll have like 3 limits of dove with me. And then I'm making dove poppers. So I think we
Yes.
were like playing cards, making dove poppers, and it was like a big group function. And all these LA people were just like so grossed out by the idea of it being dove. But then they were like, can I get another one of those?
Yeah,
And
right.
there we
Exactly.
go. There
Exactly.
we go.
Welcome
Yeah.
to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one more thing on the faith aspect. Do you guys feel like the outdoors is a great segue for anyone who's maybe resisting the pursuit of the Lord? Like, so somebody who is maybe like, yeah, I don't need to go to church, or "Yeah, I don't really need to read my Bible, or I don't need to pray." Like, you get them into the outdoors and expose them to the Lord that way. Do you feel like that softens their heart maybe to be more receptive to the faith?
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I know my dad has done that a lot with,
Mhm.
different acquaintances, friends, men in his life. Yeah, he'll always get him out, drink a beer around a fire, like
Mhm.
just be a human with them,
Yeah.
I think when you take that religious, attire off, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and just be a person with another person and then talk about who the Lord is to you. And like I said, the nervous system, like you're sitting under the stars around a fire, like something's going to start speaking to your soul, because most of us don't get quiet. We're looking at our phones, or and
Yeah.
we're looking at screens, and we're talking, and we're going from this place to this place, this place. And like, just to get someone quiet for a minute
Yeah.
is going to make them
That's really
start
good.
asking those deeper questions.
Yeah.
Like, man, what is this feeling? What is that peace that's surpassing understanding right now? I never had that before.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I say this a lot, but like, your life is your medicine, and the outdoors, feeding that spirituality is a huge piece of it,
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt. So you work with your dad, right?
I do.
So you guys work in chiropractic care. How has the outdoors shaped maybe or like it sounds like you guys have adopted essentially what I would consider to be a holistic lifestyle for the
Right.
most part, right?
Mm.
What was a bigger influence on that? Like growing up in the outdoors or getting into chiropractic care, and how do those blend together?
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. I would say, you know, I would say I am someone who will always be immersed in the outdoors. I love being a chiropractor, but that's my career right now in this moment. Like,
Yeah.
someday I'm also gonna be a mom. I'm his wife first and foremost, and then I'll be a mom second, and then it'll be like, maybe I'm a chiropractor in this season, and maybe I'm not. But there will never be a season that I'm not barefoot in the grass with my family and my friends. There will never be a season that I'm not, wanting to harvest food from a garden or from the woods, or things of that nature. And so, yeah, I think the chiropractic practice is a way to just help people understand the way of life, the way that I see it as being best lived. And,
Mhm.
Jesus said, I didn't come to give you just life, but life to the fullest. And so it's like, my dad and I, sure, we get to adjust people, and we get to help be like, hey, let's get you out of pain, but also, what else is there?
Yeah.
And so that is a great avenue. And you don't even have to say Jesus's name to start teaching those principles,
Yeah.
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 So there's a lot of that happening
Yeah.
around there. Yeah.
Amen.
She does a fantastic job. I mean, she's very humble, but she does an amazing job of like her life is her medicine. I mean, she probably more than anybody I know, she really like practices what she preaches in terms
Mhm.
of, people will come into her practice and either have, just will have pain or will have discomfort or will be wanting to learn how to move better. And she's able to speak to it from such a um like she really has the not just the head knowledge, but she like has the revelation on her heart. So
Yeah.
just I think her faith is a major part of that, but just the way that she truly lives her life, it's super admirable. It's another very attractive quality about her.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things to tell people is that the original word doctor came from the Greek word docere, which means to teach. And so that's what doctors should be doing. It should be like, hey, I don't want to give you a fish so you can eat today. It's like, how about I hand you a fishing pole, lead you to the water, and teach you how to cast that thing? Like,
Mhm.
that's the goal.
Yeah. which has been completely lost in modern medicine.
For sure.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can't even get started on that today.
Yeah,
There's
I was
not
about to say
enough
that's
time for
another
that.
podcast.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I feel like we need to talk to your dad. He sounds like such an interesting guy.
And he talk about stories for days. That guy.
Maybe
Yeah.
we need to get him on the podcast,
Yeah.
Ashley.
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be easy. Yeah, he'll be like, "Do I gotta be on camera?" He's for sure gonna say that,
Yeah.
but he'd probably be down.
He'll forget.
Yeah.
He'll forget.
Yeah,
We'll
for
get to
sure.
talking and it'll be good.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So, do you dread like having to go back to LA for your career right now? Like, is
No.
it one of those things where you're like, oh, I have to leave all this behind and then go into the city? Or,
Well, what's the swell doing?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but no, not at all. I mean, I think, I mean, wherever we go, we're going to be like, we're going to know now. I think there's a different meaning behind it because it's like we're going
Mm-hmm.
wherever, that next job is, it'll be us going.
Yeah.
So I haven't had that before. So knowing that it's like, okay, well, it's like I got my teammate here
Yeah.
with me. So to me, there's such a, like, I'm like, oh, we'll be able to make fun wherever we go. And like, and then we'll always, like, we'll come
Have
back.
home base.
We'll have
Yeah.
home base.
And like
Yeah.
God's values are gonna exist just as well in California as they do here,
Yeah.
right? And so
Or Vancouver,
right,
Atlanta,
New York,
wherever.
wherever. Yeah, like I think it'll be a fun challenge when that door opens for the next right thing
For
to
sure.
take these principles with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, I also want to go back to LA because I'm like, I want to hunt that same public land spot that's in Los Angeles
Yeah.
County. Like,
It
I
still
think that-
exists.
Oh yeah,
Still.
it's still there.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say what zone it is, but
Right.
yeah, but yeah, it's over there.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Have you, like, through your work and through the relationships you've made, have you been able to introduce anybody to the outdoors?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that's been one of the coolest things. Like I've taken in that same area. Like I actually lived like that area that was public land. Basically lived. There's like a giant like condo complex that is kind of right at the base of these mountains, and then you go up those mountains. You're on public land.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have gone up there since like I was in middle school, just hiking around, like messing around, looking at the deer, like looking for coyotes, there's coyotes. I mean, there's a lot of pets.
Yeah.
There's lots of coyotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember taking my buddy who's a photographer up there and taking my like rabbit in distress, just a reed call up there and calling in coyotes and him getting photos with it and him just being like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But he was shocked. I was like, okay, hey man, wind's doing this, so we probably need to sit over here. I think they're gonna come from over this way. I took Tracy up there too. I had two best men, Colts and the guy from Hawaii, and then I took him up there, did the same thing, called him coyotes. We were looking at deer through the binos, and yeah. And then anytime surfing is a little bit different because people can sometimes panic, and I don't think they like necessarily enjoy it.
Yeah.
Especially when the water's cold.
Mhm.
But oh yeah, I mean that's a really fun thing is to like take somebody who's very uninitiated out there. It can be fun and then it can be not fun also. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time you surf, you're pretty much like doing a cold plunge a lot of the time.
on the West Coast, yeah. I mean, depending on how north or how south you are,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's amazing. Like like a distance of like 5 miles, the water temperature will be like 5 degrees colder, which is a big difference like
Yeah.
on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
So you were born in rural Texas, right?
I mean, was born in Dallas. But
Dallas. Okay.
yeah, I mean, but then when I was 5, moved to Atlanta, and then yeah, from like
Mhm.
I was probably 6 or 7 when we moved to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was backtracking
Yeah, yeah.
clear to something we talked about earlier, but like now that you're an adult and you understand, probably you've talked with your mom about what that was like how was it picking up her kids and moving out to Los Angeles and, getting immersed into that culture and that
Yeah.
lifestyle? Like, I mean, obviously that's way different than going hunting and fishing and, doing all the things
Yeah.
you said you enjoy
for
doing.
sure. Yeah.
It wasn't until you moved out there that I'm sure you learned you love to surf. And
Yeah.
so what was that like for your family in that time? Have you guys had conversations about that?
Yeah, I can't believe they did that. I cannot believe that they did that.
Mhm.
It was insane. Like maybe not the wisest thing to do, honestly. I mean, it worked out good for me and my sister.
Sure.
But just, I mean, at that time, like, I just remember we moved to there were these apartments called the Oakwood Apartments, and it was kind of right in, like, where all the studios are, like, right next to Warner Brothers Studios. And it was these furnished apartments that were so expensive. And
Hmm.
so, but we were supposed to go out there for just like 3 months because there was a season, or there was like a period of like 3 months. It was called pilot season. And, in the early 2000s, that was right when the networks were starting to do the casting for all the new shows that they had coming out. And there was just a lot of auditions, a lot of opportunities. So a lot of people would come out for pilot season and give it a try and then be like, didn't work out, going back home.
Yeah.
Forget this. Like, that was way too hard.
Yeah.
And so we came out for pilot season and we ended up just never leaving, basically. And so my sister immediately booked work and we got there. I booked work. She booked work again. I booked work again. And then we just never left. So what was supposed to be, 3, 4 months turned into 20 something years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of living out there. So,
Wow.
and then right when we had decided, like, okay, I guess this is happening, this, like, do we yank the cord on this thing when it's like just getting going, or
Hmm.
do we lean into this? It, they're like, okay, let's go ahead and move. And then right when that happened, my dad was a pilot for Delta, was, I mean, up until he retired. But right when that happened, Delta went bankrupt and all pilots took a 50% pay cut.
Mm.
So right when we moved, it was like, we're moving to one of the most expensive cities in the world and just took a 50% pay cut. So that kind of sucks. And so, yeah, for like the first like year and a half, 2 years, we were sharing a 1 bedroom apartment. 4 of us were sharing a 1 bedroom apartment with a queen size bed. And yeah, we were just
Wow.
making it happen. I don't know. It's ridiculous to think about. It's ridiculous to think about like us doing that with our kids.
Mm.
Um, but no, I mean, I'm really grateful that it worked out that way and that we did it. I don't think I would have chosen that
Hmm.
necessarily, but I mean, I wanted to be, wanted to play in the NFL,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it, I'm so grateful because it was like, okay, I already knew I love doing this thing and was like, okay, I feel like I have some level of talent at it. And then was already like, had some establishment in it and was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing this.
Did you always love it?
Yeah. I mean, I think as a kid, when you're like, okay, I'm getting recognition for being good at this thing. Like, I like that as a
Hmm.
kid when you're like, I
Sure.
found my footing doing this thing. I think there were definitely times when I was like, oh, it felt like going to practice, as
Yeah.
a kid. Like, every once in a while, kids can be like, I don't want to go to practice. So,
Right.
like, I don't want to go to this audition. But no, I think I started to just appreciate it more and more. And once it really became where it was like my career, and, my sister was like, okay, and it was her career as well. I think that's when it was really something where I was like, okay, I do love this. And now have already been doing what I love. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, kudos to your folks for making
that's
that
insane.
sacrifice,
That's
and,
it.
like, I feel like so
100%.
many people want the dream without the sacrifice, you
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And it sounds like it happened organically, it wasn't
Yep.
even necessarily a dream of anybody's, you
Yep.
know? But, I'm curious, while you were out there, and I don't know if, your faith and your grounding that you have now has always been a part of your life,
Yeah.
but, like, how were you tested when you're being out there? Like, were there ever times where you strayed or, um, you were tested and you're like, "Man, I don't know, like, this could change my life."
For sure. There's probably more stories than I could, like, it would take up the rest of our time for
Yeah,
sure. But
yeah,
there's so many things where, like, it was an amazing opportunity, and it was between me and one other guy, and, it was like it was very lucrative, I mean, just from a career standpoint or just from a financial standpoint or you name it, where now I'm really grateful that it didn't work out
mhm,
because I feel like it was kinda a little bit of, like, the Lord's protection on that deal, stuff that would've, like, would have been such a even a further, launching pad and stuff like that
mhm,
career-wise. And, um, So you learn a lot that way, and talk about patience too. Like the the amount of rejection that you face being in the entertainment industry will forge something in you. Like being told no, 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 time and time again, despite like your best efforts and just navigating that. And
Yeah.
now she has some experience with that because yeah, she like whenever I audition for something now, we tape it and we send it in. I mean, since COVID, that's like 95% of auditions is like you audition and you email,
Yeah.
your tape to somebody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But so she's my self-tape partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
Um,
gonna
Cool.
say, I remember, like, obviously when things started getting serious with us, I obviously had questions. Like, I'm like, are there boundary lines here? What does that look like? What is
Mhm.
already established there? What would that look like different in marriage? Like,
mhm.
as a woman who's like
Yeah.
a believer and
Am I
wants
gonna
to
have
have
to
a
watch a
family.
movie of you making out with some lady?
Or
I mean,
yeah, or, like, simulated sex scenes is like,
yeah.
I mean, you can't turn the TV on without watching a movie with that,
Mhm.
and so I obviously had questions about that, and he already had those boundaries in place, and so which was awesome for me because then
Yeah.
for the most part, like, there's been a few things to kinda nail out between us, but for the most part, it was like, you've said no to opportunities because of that.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's and that is something also that's like that will forge something in you is
Mhm.
and you don't get paid until your agents get paid, and so whenever you book work, they get a cut of that because they're helping you find the next job. And so, when you're passing, when you're saying no to a perfectly good in their eyes, a perfectly good and a perfectly lucrative opportunity, it's like kind of taking money out of their pocket. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, you could just say yes and we'd both get paid and everybody be all right. But what I have learned is like you cannot you can't make that you can't sacrifice your peace
Mhm.
like due to an opportunity. Like if you gotta follow your peace on
Yeah.
that. And so if something is not sitting right with you, and especially if you're like, I already have this boundary, but if it's even leading up, yeah, you just have to learn to like, I gotta. It's not worth sacrificing my peace.
Good
And
for
so
you.
it's hard. It's hard when especially when you feel the pressure of agents and are sitting there like with dollar signs in their eyes, and they're like, but you're gonna do it, right? You're gonna do it. It's
Mhm.
good. I mean, this is a perfectly lucrative opportunity. You're gonna work with this person, this director, and it's this studio, and it'll probably lead to this opportunity. And you're like, actually, no.
Mm.
And it's hard. It's
I bet.
harder when it's like rubber meets the road. But I've just learned like learning to stick up for yourself. And it's like, okay, I'm trusting the Lord. Like I'm led by the Holy Spirit, and it's not worth sacrificing my peace and let the chips fall where they may, and believe that like, man, like he's going to open doors that no man can close. And like, we're like doors are going to close, and like, that's going to be provision or that's going to be protection. Yeah, it's just like you have to, but you have to have a firm foundation. The industry or will take advantage of you
Sure.
real quick,
I can
real
imagine.
quick if you don't have like a very firm foundation of who you are. And so, yeah, I mean, I've had lots of opportunities where I've like made it really uncomfortable on set where I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And then people are freaking out, acting like, they may have to make a tough decision. I'm like, cool, sounds good.
Yeah. Wow. Good for you. That's
Yeah.
so cool. And I bet
So
I mean, I'm sure there's other people in the same boat, but probably way more rare than the
for
opposite,
sure,
you know?
for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to have a scarcity mindset because it's such a competitive industry
Mhm.
and, it's way more competitive than there are, actual opportunities. And so, yeah, but it's just like you can't make a decision that bothers your peace.
Yeah,
It's
for
not
sure.
worth it at the end of the day. Like when you're like, okay, and then everybody's all happy, and then you actually get there on the day on set, and then you're like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this thing that I said I was going to do, and it was actually bothering my peace. Like
Yeah.
I've kind of put myself in that situation in the past, and I'm like, yeah, not gonna do that again. Yeah,
Good for
it's
you.
not worth it.
So, Madeline, what's next for you guys? I mean, I know you're just probably enjoying this season of
For
life,
sure.
being newly married, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys are both ambitious. You both have hobbies that you love. I
yeah.
mean, what's on the horizon?
Yeah, it's funny, we were just at church last night, and, our officiant's wife, we did premarital counseling with them. She was asking us, like, "Did the Lord give you a word for this year?" And normally I don't really do that, that's not really my thing, but, interestingly enough, I was, like, kinda just the first week of this year, I was like, think this is going to be a year of surrender. Like, I think we're just going to buckle up and see what happens. So I wish I could tell you.
Yeah.
I think we could end up here or there. And we're both just like, we're going to do it together. And we're going to make decisions from a place of peace. But it's going to be good. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about on the outdoorsy front?
Mm-hmm.
What's next there? You guys have any trips or anything coming up? Are there any good surfs coming in, you know?
No, I mean, we had, not too many locally, not too many in Oklahoma.
Right.
But no, man, I mean, I think we have been talking about going to Waco for a while. There's like the wave park, the wave pool down there, which like that just would be fun. So
Not too far.
yeah, it's not too far, 4 or 5 hour drive, but
As far as outdoors, every weekend. I mean,
Yeah, we're
you know,
gonna-
what
You're
season
living
is
it.
it is
Yeah.
the question. Yeah,
Right.
he knocked a deer down. We're gonna get it back from the processor pretty soon. We're excited about that, and
yeah,
probably get a doe so that we have, you know,
Yeah.
ample meat till
Yeah.
next season.
and
And
harvest some of the what did we talk about? Some of the organ meat, so
Mhm.
we can have some of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Cool.
ultimately, I would love to like have a whole like shop, a whole situation where I can process it on my own. but
Yeah.
still need some of the gear, some of the tools to be able to like do that well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you guys typically process your own animals?
The deer before this one, I did my first Oklahoma buck.
Mhm.
We processed it like on the big kitchen island at her grandparents'
Oh yeah,
place.
you should see my grandma. She's like a well-oiled machine
Oh yeah,
with it.
yeah.
But
But-
if we want some more like summer sausage, I don't know if
Yeah.
you've used Siggy's before, but
Oh,
we
they're great.
love
Yeah.
their summer
Incredible.
sausage.
Yeah,
So
I've got
stuff like
deer
that.
there right now.
Yeah.
Okay, there
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
go.
I just wish it was a little quicker on the return.
Yeah.
you know?
sure, for
But they
sure.
take in so many deer.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Have you guys eaten at their restaurant?
I
by the way?
haven't, but you.
I have.
It's
Yeah,
so good.
it
I
is.
just ate there for the first time recently.
Yeah.
I've taken several animals there and never
Yeah.
eaten there, and it's
Okay,
really
there you
good.
go.
It is.
So you have to try it out.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. We'll do it soon.
yeah.
Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming
Thank
in
you.
today.
Thanks
I
for
really
having us.
appreciate it. I'm a huge believer. If anybody's listened to this podcast, they already know, but the faith and the outdoors, they're so intertwined.
Yeah.
And I want to get away from like, oh, you hunt? Okay. Oh, you ranch? Oh, you farm? Well, you surf
Mhm.
or you ski
Yeah.
or you have a garden
Yeah.
or you have beehives. And like, there's so many different ways to enjoy the land and to enjoy
Yes.
God's creation. And
Yes.
I appreciate y'all providing a different aspect
Yeah.
that most folks don't even think about. Because I'm sure a lot of people are like me, and when they think of LA, yes, maybe you think of surfing, but you're thinking about a lot of other worse things first, you know. And it's cool for me to know that there's people out there living in a different place, but they enjoy the same things that I enjoy and that y'all
Sure.
enjoy, and it's just awesome. I think it can change the trajectory of someone's life,
Yeah.
and it obviously did for you guys.
For
For
sure.
sure.
So thank goodness for that camping trip, huh?
Yeah. Oh,
Amen.
thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for the outdoors and camping
Yeah.
trip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, guys.
Thank you.
My name's Andrew Schultz. This is Cayden and Madeline Boyd, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.